Hi, I'm Paul James. I've made this little film just to talk a bit about my new album, which is called Au Coin Perdu, The Lost Corner. It's an album of compositions. There's one traditional piece, but the rest are all things that I wrote and then played with. It's a series of duos with various musicians from around Europe. Most of it's really quite simple. It's just two instruments playing together. There's a couple of tracks where I got a bit more carried away, but there we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm just going to talk a bit through the album and who played on it and all of that. The first track is called Au Coin Perdu, like the album, and it was me reuniting with Gregory Jolivet, who's a very well-known player of the hurdy-gurdy in France. We played together for about, 16, 17 years in the band Blowsabella. I still play in Blowsabella. Greg left to do other things, but we're all still great friends. And I'm really happy he agreed to do this because I love playing with Greg. And so I gave him a couple of tunes that work well with bagpipes and hurdy-gurdy. If you've never heard or seen a hurdy-gurdy before, it's a stringed instrument. There's a handle at the end. You turn the handle turns a wheel. The wheel continuously bows a number of strings, some of which are drone strings. One creates a rhythm, and then two or three of them you can play with a key box. You can play the tune, the melodies, a bit like the keys on a piano. Very ancient pan-European instrument, and it goes really well. In a way, it's like a string version of a bagpipe, so it goes very, very well with bagpipes. So I wanted to do something with Greg, which is like really back to basics. It's a type of dance, bal folk dance tune called a bourrée from the centre of France in 3/8 time. And I threw these tunes at Greg, hoping that he'd like them. And as always, he played like an angel, and it was an absolute pleasure doing that. The second track on the album is called Paraujas, and it was kind of a way for me to reconnect with an old musical colleague of mine and a very good friend, Carlos Becerro, who's originally from Galicia, lives in the centre of Spain. We don't see each other very often now because of distance, but we stay in touch. Some people watching this might know him because he played in a very well-known Spanish folk band called La Musgana. And he and I also did a couple of musical projects with the late, great Maurizio Martinotti, the Italian musician and organiser and great inspiration to us all and a good friend back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So we got a chance to play together a lot then, and we've stayed in touch a lot since then. Anyway, Carlos plays bouzouki and guitar. He's like a machine, but with a heart. He's like fantastic. He's a great musician. He's like the ultimate rhythm player. He just absolutely bosses the rhythm, and it's an absolute kind of keeps it simple, but in a really, I don't know, it's hard to explain in a way that's absolutely brilliant to play with. So for me playing the melody and him playing the rhythm, it was really easy for me to do it. I first played this tune with him a bit when I was on holiday in Galicia a few years ago. And we were just, I try not to take any musical instruments with me, but I had a little tin whistle, and we sat and played this a bit somewhere in Galicia. I can't remember where exactly. And then it went on from there. And then when I finished the tune, he was the obvious person to play it with. The third one on the album is another reunion with a musician who I know mostly through the late great Maurizio Martinotti. Enrico Negro is a guitar player from Turin, Torino, and a very good friend. And I was looking for something to do with him. I sent him a few tunes, I think, and I think he agreed to do this one. It's called One for Sorrow, and it's in 3/4. It's a mazurka style tune that I wrote originally and did with Blowsabella. But we never played it that much in Blowsabella. I hope not because people didn't like the tune, but it's just the great thing about Blowsabella is everybody composes tunes, and also Blowsabella has been going for a very, very long time, so there's this absolutely enormous repertoire. So often, you know, we'll do a tune but not for too long because it's competing with a lot of other tunes and you can't play them all. So that's originally I did it for them. They did a lovely arrangement, but I was really nice just to play it in a very simple way with on saxophone with Enrico playing guitar. The fourth one on the album is a tune called Falco, or this time I've called it Falco for Two, because I was looking for another sort of primitive kind of drone-based tune to play with a bagpiper who I very much admire from Germany, called Rick Kruger. And I knew Rick could jump at the chance. We'd met up somewhere, we played it together. I thought, yeah, we really must record this. And he's an absolute pleasure to play with. So the tune originally was inspired a bit by the high up view from Inkpen Beacon in the centre south of England. I was standing on top of the hill, and then kind of below me I could see these birds of prey flying and hunting in the cornfields below. And that started me thinking about this. But also it's a bit of a homage, this tune, to an old friend of mine, Cliff Stapleton. Cliff and I, when we started out together playing in theatre companies and busking the streets, and he wrote a great tune called The Man in the Brown Hat, and I always wanted to write a tune in the same rhythm, which was as good as that. I hope I did. Well, Cliff will be the judge of that. But anyway, Falco. If you're listening on headphones or with some nice speakers in front of you, Rick is the bagpipe player on the right of the stereo. I'm the one on the left, and as you can tell, he's better than me. He's a really good player, and he made it sound lovely. So thank you, Rick. The fifth one on the album, number 5 on the album, is a waltz. It's actually 2 waltz tunes. It's called Séraphine, and it was a kind of bit of a homage to the knife artist Séraphine de Senlis. It's a really good. My partner Rosalie got me to what. There's a great French film about Séraphine de Senlis, and we watched that. And I think if you ever saw her pictures, you'd recognise some of them. She's one of these people who painted in secret at night because she didn't think she was an artist or that she was allowed, and then got discovered later in life and went on to great success towards the end of her life. I love her paintings. Anyway, it started me thinking about her, and I thought I'll write a tune for her, and so it's called Séraphine, or Séraphine de Senlis, and this is with Milena Hoja, the harp player from Hamburg. I've never met Milena. We played at a distance during lockdown. Some German friends invited me to play an online music workshop, so I did a sort of band workshop online. I think everybody was kind of doing it then. It was a bit crazy, the internet not working very well, some people forgetting to put their mic on, when they're talking, some forgetting to switch it off, and it was chaos, but we had a lovely time for a couple of hours. And in that workshop I thought, there's a woman there playing the harp, and she's really good and very got a lot of energy about her playing. So sometime after, I contacted her and said, do you want to do something? And she said, yeah, sure. And I said, well, I've got this waltz in mind. Would you have a go at that? And she did. And it's the longest track on the album. I think it's 8 minutes. And it was just an absolute pleasure to play with her. How we did it, like a lot of tracks on the album, because we weren't in the studio together. It's too far, it's too expensive, it's too difficult to do. But everybody can record at home these days. I have a home studio. And she had some recording gear, so I just sent her a demo of it, and then she played. She went, okay, and she sort of played, what about that? And then, of course, she sort of changed it and had some ideas. So I then I listened to what she did and went, yeah, okay, I'm going to try this. So we went backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. I don't know how many times, 6 or 7 times maybe, until in the end it sounded like we were playing together, because we were sort of doing it in an iterative way, responding to each other's ideas. So it was a really good way of doing it, when you can't be in the room together. So thanks very much, Milena, who she's just a great player and just brings a lot of commitment and energy to it, for which I'm very grateful. The track number 6 on the album is it's my version. It's a song. I haven't sung it this time. I've just done it as an instrumental, but it's called Chana. I've called it Ach Chana. And it's Chana. It's an old Flemish, old Dutch folk song. It's incredible. Like a lot of folk songs, it's absolutely tragic from beginning to end. Chana's already dead and under the ground, and the children are starving. It's one of those. Really cheery. I always loved the melody though. And I heard an old old Flemish friend of mine, Alfred den Oden, playing it, and I thought, I'm going to try and do something with that. I've slightly changed the tune. I hope the Flemish folk police won't come after me, but I mean, I know, who knows how people actually played it 300 years ago, so I just tried to do something with the tune. I'm going to say no more, really, because I like it so much, and it's a tune I go around kind of humming sometimes just in my head. So that's my version of Jana. Number 7 on the album is a piece called Piano, The Piano in the Parlour. And we recorded that at home with my partner, Rosalie Bostiels. I asked her to play. We've got a piano in the front room in the parlour. And I was thinking about doing something with a baritone sax, but not playing millions of notes, just trying to keep it really, really, do something improvised that was very, very simple. So I asked Rosalie just to play this kind of repetitive riff on the piano against a metronome. So it's almost a bit like homemade organic kind of systems music, and she's great at that. So, just keeping it very simple, very steady. And it was a wet Wednesday morning, and I think the track kind of deliberately sounds a bit like that. We're trying to sort of respond to the environment around where we live. It was very wet, a bit cold, just in the middle of the harvest, and we live in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of farmland. There's always tractors going up and down the road, to the point where we just thought, we can't, there's never going to be 10-15 minutes where there isn't a tractor going up the road. So Rosalie we could hear the tractor coming, and she just sort of managed to pause. We hear the tractor go by, and then she sort of picked it up again. So we worked it into the piece. I don't play baritone saxophone very much, but I really like playing around the top of the instrument. It has a nice tone. For me, it sounds a bit like a bass clarinet, and I just enjoy playing it. The tune, the melody is completely improvised. It's the one completely improvised thing on the album. And thanks very much to Rosalie. She made the stop motion videos for my previous album, which you can see on my website. And in fact, she's working on another one for this one, but she's a very busy artist, so I have to get in the queue like everyone else. And she was kind enough to also to do the design of the CD cover and everything. So thanks a lot, Rosalie. We had a lot of fun making that little piece together. It's always good when we can find time to collaborate with each other. Mostly we're working on separate projects, so I particularly enjoyed that. Track number 8 is 2 tunes called The Black Mill and The Three Priests, and it's in the style of a kind of bal folk dance called a Scottish. It's 2/4 time. It's like a couple dance, very straightforward couple dance. And the story behind it was actually to do with Rosalie again. She in the Black Mill, the Zwarte Molen, was on the hill above where we live. There used to be a mill there, and in the late 16th century, when all that awful time when there was lots of conflict between the rising Protestant version of Christianity against the old Catholic version of Christianity. It was exactly the same in England and in many other places in Europe. The Reformation, here the Huizen, and they caught 3 young priests who were sort of fighting back for Catholicism, and they hanged them on the ridge up the road. Terrible, tragic story. Their knuckle bones are in a frame high on the wall in Reininghalst Church. Always worth a look on a rainy day. You've got nothing else to do in Herveland. Anyway, I thought I'd just kind of commemorate that with something that's not too depressing. These guys, you know, I'm not religious, but these guys clearly strongly believed in what they did and paid a terrible price for it. So I tried to write something a little bit more optimistic, kind of in their memory. Anyway, to do it, I thought I need an accordion player. I know a lot of accordion players, and I'm lucky. I've play with some wonderful ones. I know, and I could have asked any of them, and but I decided to ask someone I don't know very well. He's a well-known folk accordion player from Brittany in France, and he's called Bruno Letron. And so I only know him a bit. We sort of bump it. We pass like ships in the night, sometimes at a festival or a workshop, something. And I always like Bruno. I love his playing, and he's. I just love his whole attitude to music. He's an absolute delight to be with. Very terre à terre, you know. And luckily he said, yeah, I'd love to play that. Send me the music. And then when he was passing through, he stopped and we recorded it together. In fact, it's the only. It's about the only track where it's actually the two of us playing live in the room at the same time. I recorded this in all kinds of spaces. I don't have a fix. I don't want a studio. You know, it gets boring. You know, I move my stuff around in different spaces depending on what I'm doing. Anyway, we recorded this upstairs in a barn over the road, and you can hear our feet stamping on the floor. And yeah, I could have filtered that out, but do you know what? I think sometimes recordings these days are too perfect. It's just two guys enjoying, you know, playing bagpipe and accordion together on a couple of dance tunes. It just is what it is. Thanks very much, Bruno. We had a lovely day, and I hope that's not the last time we play together. And I hope to see you soon. So the track number 9 is a version of a tune that I wrote years ago in the late 80s called Horizonto. A lot of people play bal folk music, you know, folk dance music, play the tune. This time I've called it more Horizonto because actually it wasn't my idea to do it at all. When I asked Milena Hoja to play Seraphine with me, she said, yeah, can we also play Horizonto? Because I really like it. And you know, who am I to say no? I was delighted she liked the tune. And I'm really glad she pushed me a bit to do it. And I'm really glad she did, because actually it was just great to play it. And also sort of play it how I've done it. You know, I played it. We do a nice version in my trio, my Balfolk trio, Trio. And we sort of resurrected it for that. And I've been enjoying playing it. So I was pleased when she suggested this, but also I was just knocked out with what she did. So again, I did a little demo, and here's the dots. I sent her the score and a little demo of how I thought we could maybe do it. And then she really turned the whole thing on its head and came up with some really, really original ideas. I think the third time through, where she just plays solo on the beginning part, and then I come back. When I first heard that, it made me cry for the right reason. I just couldn't. It really moved me. I'd never have thought to do it like that, you know, or that idea of harmony. So thanks a lot, Milena, for refreshing quite an old tune of mine, and I really enjoyed that. And I hope one day, because we've never met, we've talked, you know, like Zoom and things like that. But I hope one day we can actually sit in a room and play that tune together on the harp and the saxophone. It'd be really, really nice. And thanks very much. The last track on the album is called Watching the Planets, and it really came out of an improvisation with my old friend and probably my most constant collaborator, Victor Nichols. Victor and I we've done all kinds of things over the years. I first met him in the early 1990s. I asked his then girlfriend, now wife, Jessamy, I said, I was looking for a bass player. Do you know any bass players? She said, well, ask Victor. So he's a phenomenal bass player and guitar player. So I said to Victor, do you know any good bass players? And I've managed to keep that really bad joke going for about 30 years now. I'm quite proud of it. He's patiently laughs at it every time. Victor and I have done all kinds of things. He's got nothing to do with folk music. He's an improviser. He plays a lot of funk, jazz, contemporary music. We've always sort of been able to just play easily together for some from very different musical backgrounds, and he'll always come up with something I'd never have thought of. So I threw him a kind of demo which was really just a rhythm track and a key to play with a tiny bit of electric piano, I think, and then I come up with a simple theme to play on the saxophone at the end. But the first kind of 2-3 minutes was just nothing, because I didn't want to tell him what to do. In fact, I didn't want to tell any of the musicians on this album what to do. I think you choose people that you like their style, you like what they do, and just let them do what they do, rather than overly directing them. I mean, yeah, I've got an idea about the tempo and the key, and perhaps about the structure and how long it should be or not, but the rest of it is really up for grabs all the time, and you need to give the people you're collaborating with full reign in return for helping you out, And Victor's, all of them were, and Victor's really good at that. So he just came up with this improvisation on electric guitar, and then at the end we play the theme together. It was really good. Thanks very much, Victor. We also play. I've got an electric band called Paul James and the Drowned Lovers, and Victor plays guitar in that. So we're actually kind of most of the way through an album of that as well. So be playing with Victor again soon, I hope. So look, thanks for tuning in and watching this. If you've got to this stage, well done. Listening to me go on. You can listen to the album and all of my stuff. You can stream it free on my website. You can listen to it as many times as you like. I'm just always pleased that anybody will listen to it, really. So my website's just pauljames.be. I'm very fine on the internet. You can download an MP3 or the whole album, or buy a CD. I can post to you anywhere in the world. That would be great. Give me some feedback. I always like to hear from people. I have to say, if this ends up on YouTube, I always disable the comments. And it's not that I don't want to listen to it. It's just you get, you just get too many people going, "That's awesome," or telling you that you're really shit, and it's neither of those things, is it? The truth is somewhere in between. So I always like to hear from people. If anybody enjoys it at all. I do this just because I like doing it. Yeah. If nobody listened to it at all, I'd still be doing this, because for me, the process of making music is incredibly important. So thanks for listening. Do get in touch. And if you play or sing or dance, just keep doing it, because I think getting involved as a listener or a dancer or a singer or a musician is what helps the world go round, isn't it? In these strange times that we find ourselves in. So good luck to you, and I hope to see you soon. All right, cheers. Bye.